Oh my God.
It will be in my lover's body because we are one lover.
I hate it.
When we have sex, it's just masturbation because we're one person.
Oh my God, I hate it.
One heart, one brain, one asshole.
It like...
Hey, fuckers, how you doing? Welcome to another very exciting, very thrilling episode of Guys We Fucked.
It's the Anti-Slut-Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show. Get your calendar out because there are some places where you are going to need to see us live. Number one is Los Angeles, California on February 14th. That 8 p.m. show is pretty much sold out, but if you want a ticket to that, grab one of the last few if there's any remaining by the time that you hear this. After that, we added a second show at the Comedy Store main room. It is 10:30 p.m.
which is like 5 a.m. in LA time.
I know, but it's great because if you had dinner plans with your sweetie pie or your girls or your guys, and that's the reason that you weren't coming, well, now you don't have that excuse. You and all the whole gang and the boyfriend and the husband and the wife and the wives come out
and the bastard children
after and see that 10:30 p.m. show. Also, if you're coming to the 8 p.m. show, listen, I know everyone doesn't have the funds, but it will be a completely different show from the 8 p.m. show because it is the live experience. So no two shows are the same. So if you're traveling, if you're a super fan, we haven't been in LA together for a long time. Yeah. So come to that 10:30 p.m. show. I
love the Guys We Fucked experience shows. They're so
very fun. You don't never know what's going to happen.
I know.
Never know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen.
I know. That's one of my favorite parts because I'm like, you know what? I know I can do a trust fall and I know it's going to be good because we've been doing this for 10 years.
Super fun.
But the Guys We Fucked experience show is one of the most fun times I have on stage. It's
absolutely
so fun. I love pranking people.
You don't want to miss it.
No, you don't. And we'll get to the other dates later if we want to get.
All right. Email. If you want to send us an email, it's sorryaboutlasttnight@gmail.com. This subject line says it is not normal in all caps to hate your spouse.
Oh.
Yeah, we know. We literally know that. Hi, Krystyna and Corinne. I've been what?
It's funny to me.
I've been listening to GWF since the beginning, and I am a big fan of the show and love the perspectives you bring to sex, relationships, dating, and life. I have noticed in the last few weeks that the tone of the show has veered, in my opinion, a little cynical on relationships.
Have you listened to the emails we've read?
I don't know that it was even the past few weeks ago. I mean, I think that's the entirety of the show.
It's a lot of the emails we read make us cynical towards relationship because they're about bad relationships because you wouldn't write into an advice podcast if your relationship was perfect.
Yeah. Also, if you thought that this show was somehow the point of it was for us to convince you to get into a relationship, you've been listening all wrong.
Go to Call Her Daddy.
My good friend. I don't think that's what that's about either, to be honest.
Is she married?
Well, did she get married yet? She's engaged.
I think Call Her Daddy is just like, you're famous, come talk to me.
Yeah. I just know that People Magazine did an engagement shoot. I'm like, it could have been me and Corinne.
Oh God, I would never have done that. That's no.
I mean, in another way.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe they'll have your, Corinne's dog's birthday photo shoot or something.
Yeah, I was like maybe something for like a rescue or something. I don't know. I just feel like photographing your engagement in that way is very bad vibes. I worry that if I were a young single person listening to your show right now, a lot of worries for something that you're not. I mean, come on. I'd feel that there was no hope for me to have a happy marriage without some sort of weird trick to make it all work.
But these are the emails that we read on the show. I am in a relationship and I fucking love it. But it's healthy. Listen, I don't really talk about it because it's healthy. No one gives a fuck.
I'm not going to speak for Corinne. I've thought we've literally been talking like before the show started today about how frustrated I feel too. Like I maybe there is like a cynical twinge, but like this is also our personal experiences.
Yeah.
Like,
again, I'll reiterate what I've said in the past a lot. And like, listen, we'll get through the whole email. You've just already annoyed us, so we stopped. But no, to me, it's like Krystyna and I have talked about this before that like, this is number one, a show primarily for women. Men are allowed to listen, but this is not for you. And so we're talking, women are constantly sold that relationships are the thing.
Yes.
That's what the goal is. So the point of this show is to offer the other perspective.
Absolutely.
It's not to talk you out of the relationship. The relationship is the thing that is a hard sell since you fucking are born when you're especially a straight woman. So we're showing you that like, hey, if you don't have one or if it doesn't feel right, don't settle for anything less than what you absolutely want and what you absolutely deserve. And you're still going to be fine whether you're in a relationship or not.
Yeah.
So if that's somehow been misconstrued, I mean, obviously also it's a comedy show, so we're making a ton of jokes, but.
And I never thought it was normal. It's not normal to hate your spouse. We never thought that. But
yeah, we never thought that.
So sad.
I want to make it clear how much I agree with you. Generally, most straight men are emotional babies looking for someone to coddle them and replace their mother. There are a lot of bad marriages out there that I wouldn't want to be a part of, and certainly men I wouldn't want to be married to.
Totally.
But I also want to provide some perspective from a guy who actually really likes his wife and enjoys her company.
Hell yeah.
As a friend. Okay. My wife and I met in college and have been together for nearly 14 years, married for almost 6.5 years of marriage. Isn't a lot. But in that time, we've been through some pretty serious shit too. So I feel like we've tested the strength of the relationship pretty well. For example, that's also it clears up why the email annoyed me immediately out of the gates. Number one, I didn't even know. I thought it was a woman and I'm still annoyed. Number one, a 9-month work rotation where we were about as physically far apart as it's possible to be. Okay, so already you're making not a good case because one of the best parts of your marriage
your wife so much because you barely see her.
Was when you were in a 9-month rotation.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. This sounds great. Life-threatening illness treatment and the financial implication of that.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Financial ups and downs and periods where only one of us was earning.
That's another stress.
Little crushes and jealousies.
Of course.
Parent-family stuff, including actually living with one set of parents for a year during COVID.
Nightmare.
A cross-country move, stressful jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm already out. Regarding the article you read on air last episode about normal marital hatred,
which we thought was ridiculous.
Yeah, we were making fun of that article. Were you listening to us?
That article is crazy because you should never hate your spouse.
Yeah. We read it because it was awful. I think it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, we agree.
Did you hear us? The fact that the author claimed they've toured the country and never found anyone who will push back on that is totally bogus.
Agreed.
I can say for my part, normal marital hatred is not a thing. I've never once hated her, and I'm pretty sure the same is true vice versa. I completely agree with you guys that if you ever hate your partner, that's a reliable sign that the relationship is over. I will say that in the vein of the reader email you read a few weeks ago from the girl who moved in with her boyfriend and found him annoying and feeling like he was robbing all her time, I do think that's normal and something that can be worked through. That was extreme. I don't agree.
Yeah.
In a relationship, there will be times where your partner. I like how you're kind of speaking to us as if we've never been in a long-term relationship,
I'm
and
not
I don't.
this
And I don't
either.
love it.
Yeah,
he's like mansplaining our own show to us, bitch. We got it
after really not listening to anything that was said in the first place.
Yeah,
I mean, this.
Well,
it is
he
a
did
little
agree
condescending.
when he brought up that article. I was like, yeah, well, we agree with you. But then he said, yeah, I agree with you. Like,
also,
okay.
hey man, this is your relationship. This is one example.
Yeah,
you know, I'm again.
People love to do. I find it's so funny because we get a lot of criticism for like knocking marriage, whatever. But people in marriages get so defensive in a way where like, God, if it was going well, you wouldn't need to tell us all about how great it is.
Exactly, dude. Therein lies the proof that you ain't having as good of a time as you telling everybody you have.
This man just wrote us a manifesto on how great marriage is. Okay.
Right.
Hugest red flag I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Yeah.
The first talking point was we had spent a lot of time apart.
I know.
Also,
I love that part. I was so on board. I go, oh yeah.
Honestly, yeah, that is what it
I know we're not through the email yet. Then there's more coming, but
there's a lot more.
This is. I think this is like kind of the fun of reading emails that we like every paragraph we could dive in and have like a 10-minute conversation.
Yeah, for sure. But the whole point the whole point that I was trying to make is that I still don't think that as a collective we shit on the idea of like that nobody should be married and whatever.
No.
Like I think I want that for myself.
I think healthy marriage is a beautiful thing,
right? But I think that I do think that it's funny that this person is using the sample size of one to explain that we're wrong.
Yeah.
And cynical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a whole larger theory on this, but I mean, I do think heterosexual men are absolutely quivering in their boots because word has spread that marriages are really mostly a disservice to heterosexual women. And so they've gone out of their way in things that I've seen online to really fight for these like traditional values.
Traditional values, such a red flag if you hear that coming out of anybody's fucking mouth.
Yeah, no, men are absolutely quivering in their boots because they've known the whole time what a great setup heterosexual marriage is for them. And now we finally fucking caught on. And so they need to resell it to us.
I do think, and again, this is situational, but okay.
But listen, I was just going to add, the only men that are actually quivering in their boots when Corinne brings up this topic or when these topics are brought up anyway, are the ones that are not bringing it in the relationship and like riding pretty. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't get offended by her saying that if you weren't that kind of guy.
If I was happy and happily married and I heard some ladies talking on a show talking, about how marriage isn't good, I would just sit at home and go, well, I mean, I hope they find someone someday because it really can be great. And then I would move on with my day.
Yeah.
All right, back to this email now. In a relationship, there will be times where your partner just gets on your nerves or everything they do drives you nuts and where their little flaws really feel big and apparent. Oh, thank you for clearing that up for me, sir.
I couldn't tell that all by myself.
I had no idea.
I've only with someone for 7 years.
I was like, I fucking dated someone for 5 years and then multiple 2.5, 3. Like, what are we talking about here? Sometimes that's an hour or a day. Sometimes it's a week or even months. Okay, well, months is when I leave.
Break up. Months is when you go, oh, I'm out.
Months. You're getting got,
this
sir.
Is way too inconvenient for me. See you later.
Relationships are definitely cyclical, but if you're doing them right, then the highs and lows get progressively higher over time.
Wait, the highs and lows. Okay.
And the lows get, I mean, so the highs are higher and the lows are also higher, I guess is his point.
Right.
I can remember a period like the one she described. It was about a year after we first moved in together when it felt like I never got the apartment to myself and she just always was just always there. And it made me really unreasonably annoyed to have her in my space all the time. Well, it was your communal space. So I think that's particularly normal when you're first merging your lives, moving in, figuring out.
Yeah, that's why I'm renewing my lease again because I don't want to move with my boyfriend because separate apartments is kind of better.
Yeah, how you're going to join, especially when it's in the same neighborhood.
I know, yes.
There's
zero
point.
Not same building, but a block away.
Same building is my goal. Same building is my goal.
Same building is probably ideal, but like a block away, different homes, yeah,
I would just like to like kind of like be like, oh, I forgot something and run back,
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, sorry, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Whoops. I'm reasonably annoyed to have her in my space all the time. I think that's particularly normal when you're first merging your lives, moving in, figuring out how you're going to jointly prioritize time and money, et cetera. Well, also you don't have to do money. I never want to do that. But hatred, not normal. There isn't some big secret. We don't have separate bedrooms or spend half the year on separate coasts. You literally just talked about 9 months when you were like in a rotation where you didn't see each other, but okay. Or anything like that. We even share the vast majority of our friends and spend a lot of time together. There was a lot of O's there. Maybe we are playing on relationship easy mode since we very intentionally don't have kids.
Yeah, that probably does help.
But I've also seen very strong, joyful / fun partnerships with young kids in them.
Me too.
Like we're on TV.
But what is this email?
I don't like everything.
Of course it exists.
I mean, I just heard two women talking for an extended period of time, and he said he needed to cut in.
I
just
don't
work
understand.
Into this set?
I don't know. Like I have seen. Of course, I have friends that are married, and it seems great because they like each other and it works for them. I've seen adults that are married where I'm just like, good God.
My parents were married, and I grew up in a home, like in the house with them.
It's just
and it was peaceful.
It's just like it is taking this seriously to a degree that we seldom see on this podcast.
Right.
I know. If there is a secret, in my opinion, it is really liking each other and building a partnership with your own rules / aligned with your values. Having had the chance to observe many couples, we often remark to each other that we think we like others more than other people.
We like each other.
We like each other more than other people do. God, also
that's
the
why
use
you're
of
together.
we in this email is there. This is my own thing, but like the excessive use of we when you're in a couple, it's just like fucking nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
I can't. When I ask someone, you went to the movies, how was it? And they go, we really liked it. I go, are you sharing a brain? I know I know I'm reacting too hard to it.
No, you're not.
But it just people I really love and respect to it. And I just go, I have to see what we're doing this weekend. Where will you be on Saturday? Where will your body be? Oh my God.
It will be in my lover's body because we are one lover.
I hate it.
When we have sex, it's just masturbation because we're one person.
Oh my God, I hate it.
One heart, one brain, one asshole.
It ruins my day when a friend responds to me with the we for someone I didn't fucking ask about.
Right? Yeah.
I actually don't even want to hang out with you anymore. I'm so good. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it doesn't. I totally get it. Though.
I know it's an overreaction, but it's just my personal thing that drives me fucking nuts.
When I hear that I usually hear it mostly from women, but when I hear that from anybody, I'm like, it makes me go,
oh God, oh Lord, oh my God, yeah. Especially when it's when you weren't even
asking about their boyfriend or girlfriend.
What is also especially when it's when I'm asking your specific opinion on an artistic piece, and you come back and it's a concert or a movie, and it's we didn't so I go, you just had the same.
You're lumping your opinion.
You had the same reaction to it. Then you need to go to a doctor.
Yeah, you need to go to that.
Happened to your brain.
You need to go. Who is that presidential candidate? That doctor guy who separated the conjoined twins. You need to go to that guy.
Oh my Lord,
he was a bad candidate, but separated those twins.
That was cool of him.
That was really cool.
Apparently, it isn't normal for people.
Carson.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh. Apparently, it isn't normal for people to actually pick someone they really, really like to partner with. We prioritize each other's feelings, compromise, and hold ourselves to a pretty high standard in terms of how we interact. Fighting or raising voices, lots of open and pretty direct communication. At our wedding, an uncle of mine with a 40-plus year marriage came up to us and took us each by the shoulder and said in his language, all you have to do is love each other a lot. All you have to do is love each other a lot. I know that was supposed to be meaningful, but it wasn't. I think.
Yeah, why'd you say it twice?
Because I guess he said.
Why did he type it twice?
I'm guessing the uncle said it like that.
It doesn't translate in an email. But okay.
The uncle must have been hammered.
Yeah, I know. The uncle was on cocaine and repeated himself.
All you gotta do is love each other.
What am I?
You love each other a lot.
Love each other a lot. You gotta do love each other a lot.
One of my absolute greatest joys in life is when people say something that they think is going to be really profound, and then they wait a beat afterwards, and no one's moved by it. And then there's a slow clap. It happens at award shows.
That's usually when I'm like, wow. Wow, dude.
You want to listen to me? A lot. No. Love each other a lot.
During the parent speeches at a wedding, I always think they're dropping gold, and it's always a magnet you would buy in the Hallmark store. It's so corny. You're like, is this from a roadside stand? This is awful.
It's terrible.
It's like a piece of advice from one of the tiny books at the Barnes and Noble checkout.
Oh, or the refrigerator magnets. The ones that you're like, if you have a book like this in your home or a magnet like that on your fridge, you're about to kill yourself, and you're just trying so hard not to.
Oh God. Okay, back to this. I think about that a lot. It really is that simple. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. What are you talking about? All you have to do is love each other a lot. What if your kid gets murdered? I know you don't have kids.
We don't have a kid. That's why we're so happy.
I can honestly say I think I love her more and more every year we're together.
That's beautiful.
That's how I feel about my dog.
Exactly. It's great. Great.
We're also happy for you.
No, but that is beautiful. But that's something that's you should continue to stay in a relationship when this is how it feels.
And the advice can never be all you have to do is love each other a lot. Are we children?
Because you have to set boundaries. You have to respect each other. You have to make sure you prioritize your own personal time. There's so many things.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to talk about all you have to do is love each other a lot, may I recommend to you, sir, the George and Tammy miniseries about George Jones and Tammy Wynette. They loved each other a lot. If they stayed in the same house, one of them would be dead.
Yes.
Obviously. And I think it's so interesting because even the spouses that they ultimately remarried, who they died when they were married to these spouses, even those other spouses recognized that George and Tammy were still in love with each other.
Wow, I gotta watch
how strong that was. Obviously, there is conflict, and sure, any given day or week, there may be something she does or some habit that makes me roll my eyes or get annoyed.
I'm sure you're not a prince either.
I know. I didn't like how that was only directed at her.
I know.
But hatred and real tension in a marriage is just not unavoidable. I wish more people our age understood how fun it can be. Well, I mean, this reeks of fun, my guy. If you commit to finding someone you really, really like. Apologies for the long email, but this has been on my mind for a couple of weeks.
I'm glad you got your thoughts out.
But I like how annoyed Mike is by it.
I'm not as annoyed because I'm like, okay, this guy is in a really happy relationship
and he wants to share it.
Yeah.
It's like when you first go vegan. Yeah.
But this is the thing. Krystyna's absolutely right. And this is the thing that happens when people who are in relationships, when they're happy, this is what they do.
This is why we and this is why you don't talk about this shit on stage.
So when you're in your 30s and you're single and people like your friends that are in happy committed relationships, like it's great that they're happy, but they make it sound like it's such a slam dunk easy thing for people to just I'm obviously like I'm a person that is hoping to be in a relationship with someone. I want that, of course, but it's not like a piece of cake. It's like when your mom asks you, so like, why don't you have a girlfriend or why don't you do whatever?
It's such a layered question.
It's not that fucking easy to just pick somebody and choose to love them unconditionally for the rest of your life.
We're living in a time where a lot of people's personality disorders, mental illnesses, things they have to work, like we're not, like you were saying this earlier before we recorded, Corinne, like, and I've noticed it too, there's not a lot of people working on themselves. So like when you are somebody who's working on yourselves, like dating is a fucking nightmare.
It's awful.
And we're in the city where people are like on top of their shit. It's New York City, but it's still a fucking nightmare to date here because
the dating pool gets smaller the more work you do on yourself,
and the older that you get too. Yeah. If you get into your 30s and you still don't have a partner, like I don't feel like this all the time, but it's hard to. I would say
late 30s. I didn't feel that in early 30s,
or even I'm approaching mid, and there's times where I feel like that. And I feel this way about myself too. I'm not saying about the people that are
sure,
but there are times where I'm just like, we're like what's left. We're kind of like the spare parts at times. And a lot of times it's like people that are a mess,
I don't
myself
think
included.
of that at all. I think a lot of single people are the people who are like, they're not so settling. Amazing that they don't need anyone.
Well, I don't feel that way in any way.
Well, you could if you wanted to.
A lot of like single women I know are like fucking fantastic.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the New York single woman and the New York single man are two very different species of person.
Yeah.
It's just because it's a different lifestyle because I think that like,
actually, I kind of agree with that. I don't know a lot of tremendous single guys. Like you're like one of the few. I know a lot of tremendous single women.
A lot of tremendous single women.
Yeah.
I know a couple. No, I'm not. And you are one of the few, Mike. Like you really are a tremendous guy.
But the broader point that I'm just trying to make is that like I hate being condescended to by people like this.
Yeah,
because I get it. Of course, I don't think on this show we've ever said that like there's no such thing as a good
or that marital
happy marriage.
Hatred is.
But don't fucking condescend to me that because your relationship is great that like we should all fucking throw victory parades at people that are married.
I would like to hear an email from his fucking wife because I don't believe this monologue for one fucking second.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, let's take this one step further, sir, who wrote us, who listens, and we appreciate you writing us.
Have your wife write in next week.
I want your wife to write us an email to give her, I want her assessment unfiltered by you. Hopefully, we will never know. We just have to choose to trust you. But I want to know what she thinks.
No, she has to get. They need to handwrite it and have it.
Take a photo of it.
No, what's the thing where you the stamp and the sign?
It's notarized.
Yeah, I need a notarized.
A notary.
I need a fucking
notary, baby. Bank.
I need a public notary. You can. You can do it on Zoom now. They have public notaries on Zoom. I got it done.
Wow, everything's on Zoom.
Yeah. It was great. There was just like some lawyer sitting alone in his bedroom, and he was like, "Hi." He
hopefully was wearing pants.
He was one step away from the end.
Poor guy.
But that was the easiest notary I ever got. It's just
one last notary.
But and also like, okay, so yes, I hear you. I think yes, if you don't get in a relationship, you're missing out on some parts. But I take that, and my response to you is, I also think if you make the choice to get married, you're missing out on just certain levels of self-actualization that I really don't think you can reach in a long-term relationship. Either way, you're sacrificing. I don't really think one is better than the other, but I definitely think to say that, you know, people in marriages love to say, oh, you're missing out on so much if you don't get married. I say that same point back to you guys, and not out of hate, not of my choice is better than your choice or anything like that. But I really think the same is true for married people. I think there's a lot that you're missing out of, and there's levels of self-actualization and like personhood and development and aha moments that you're just not going to get when you have that other person there.
Our interview with Dr. DePaulo.
Yeah.
First of all, happiest person I've ever spoken to in my entire 35 years of existing on this planet. The happiest person I've ever spoken to. Everything she was saying, and I'm saying this as somebody who's in a relationship that I genuinely like am thankful for pretty much daily. I'm like, she is absolutely right. And it makes me so sad that, as Corinne was saying earlier, it's mostly women that have been convinced this, but I think society as a whole, like men and women have both been convinced this, just women a little bit harder, is that the relationship is the thing. The relationship is what you want to get into. And it's like, what if we spend our lives falling in and out of love with people as we see fit? And the real journey is us with ourselves. Like, that's so meaningful, and you have so much control over where you want to go. Like, truly sky's the limit when you're single. When you are in a relationship, there are limits. There's limits on who you could fuck if that's your agreement. There's limits on what to cook for dinner because there's another human being that you have to be being considerate of another person
is a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. No, but it can be. And it's regardless of if they're the best person in the world, and I hope they are, but it still takes away energy from you. And I don't care what anybody says. Every human being should make sure that at least one day out of the week, they are the only living creature in their home or apartment, if you can figure that out, because it is so unhealthy to just be with another person all the time. Yeah. It's so unhealthy for your soul.
I mean, I just think it just really reeks of suspiciousness that single people never try to sell the single experience to married people, but married people are always trying to sell married life to us.
The truth
single
doesn't
people are
mind
just
being
walking
questioned.
around being quiet.
Yeah, because they're happy.
Yeah, and the only time we're talking about it is when we're constantly badgered by people saying, "Why are you single? What are you?" That's when we're talking about it. When we're fucking badgered.
Yeah,
we're not just going out and so standing on a milk crate.
No, I was single for for 2 years. I think it was. No one asked me why I was single.
I think they saw you were going through some stuff. To be honest.
I think it's funny now. Wasn't funny then. Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think they were going through some stuff.
Because I was like, I never got that. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I get unreasonably angry because from time to time people will be like, "Oh, come to this place." There'll be like a lot of single guys, or like,
that's what's going to get you out,
or try to like hook me up with someone, and I go,
"It's not a priority."
Oh,
no,
guys,
it's not that it's not a priority. Like,
were you not recording the whole time, Michael?
No. Okay. I had something to add.
No. I'm can you imagine?
that was a stressful guy.
Yeah, oh my God.
No. My point is not that that's what we get. My point is, I find it extremely offensive that just because you are not in a relationship, everyone assumes that if you're not in a relationship the whole time, you want to be in a relationship. Yeah. I go, no, if I wanted a boyfriend, not hard. We've established that on the show. I go, yeah, no, I'm not looking. I'm not interested. That's not something I'm pursuing right now.
Because you created a great life for yourself and you enjoy your own company.
I don't want to meet your friends.
A relationship should always be the cherry on top to an already beautiful life you have. That goes for men, women, non-binary, everybody in between, all the humans.
Yeah, I go, no, I don't want to meet your shitty, as Mike said, leftover friend.
Michael, you have something to say?
Well, I had some there. I don't think I told this story on this show, but I was relaying it to somebody recently during that 1 week between Christmas and New Year's. That's like a really tough week, especially if you're single and alone.
What? Yeah. It's like my favorite week of the year.
No one bothers you.
It's a trance.
Why is it brutal for you, Mike?
No one bothers you.
Because I was just alone for a week, literally. Okay, nobody was in town. Nobody.
Sounds like heaven.
It's awful.
You don't like that.
Didn't you need a break though? You were so overworked this year.
It's not a break when you're just kind of sitting there.
You want to bond. You want to have a connection.
Yeah, it was bad.
Or with friends. You have friends.
A lot of them have left.
You could have come to my house. I was just kicking it.
I'm inviting him over to your place now.
All right.
Yeah, go to Corinne's. What the fuck's your problem?
All right, so Mike was sad.
Anyway,
Sorry. He wanted to kill himself.
I was talking to somebody that when I was in my early 20s, I kind of had a little fling with. This woman's married now for probably almost a decade. We were just kind of talking casually, and she FaceTimed me. And she was doing this. And I like
what this guy is doing.
Yeah, just
she was
kind
trying
of like
to sell you marriage.
Ew.
The selling of marriage.
That's weird.
Click.
Yeah. And her whole thing is just like, I just like I love my husband so much. I just want other people to be as happy as we are.
Why is she
Anyone
calling you?
that I fucked 10 years ago ever called me and give me a monologue about marriage?
We never hooked up. We like worked together at the mall, and like it was never like that. But we were.
No grown woman
like,
wants to be your friend.
Yeah. So she said something to me because I was trying to like push past the subject. I was like, I'm fine. Yeah, like I'm a little like I'm fine. She was like, well, I could like set you up with somebody that was in my sorority who like she's like she's single and she's about our age and she's she's not really that like attractive, but she's still single or whatever.
Hard sell.
I was just like, what? I just told
She's
you that I
gross.
don't need.
She's just confused.
Right.
She doesn't know herself. You should
like,
meet her.
Do you think that I'm just hanging out alone for the sake of because there's nobody in my life that I could just like pull down and be like, all right, let's get married. That's not really the point of the experience of like trying to meet somebody that is like meaningful to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people that are married seem to get lost on the concept. I'm happy that anybody can do it and be very happy and find their person or whatever. But if you don't feel that way, that you have that person in your life, like I would like to get there, but you can't just pick. They're not just hanging off of trees.
Right. This is not an easy thing.
Well,
dating is a lot of work.
So
Finding a job is a lot of work. And dating, they're both separately full-time jobs.
Right.
Sometimes.
So it's like,
and again, Micah, as a reminder, I've realized so recently, a lot of these people are picking partners, not soulmates, and it's a completely different thing. And so with us, with our annoying fucking artsy fartsy minds, we're all looking for soulmates. So many people are content with partner, and more power to you.
Yeah, I think if you can be content with a partner, your life's going to be easier, to be frank.
Yeah. I agree. A partner is exactly what it says. It's a partner. A soulmate is a pain in your fucking ass.
Yeah.
Who's going to make you, you're going to fucking jump off a bridge one day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, love, huh?
If you're not willing to jump off a bridge for me, I'm not interested. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that email.
Thanks for the email. I want to hear from your wife, please. Can we hear from your wife now? Just to see. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, after you come see us in Los Angeles on Valentine's Day for the 10:30 p.m. show after you've had the dinner with your girls, come see us other places. This is going back a little chronological order, but February 9th and 10th, if you're in New Jersey, it's a big state, but I'll be right across the river from Manhattan at Bananas Comedy Club headlining that. And then February 24th is a Saturday. Save the date. Links are not up yet. That's going to be the next Wait What Live. And on March 22nd and 23rd, I am headlining the Blue Room in Springfield, Missouri. And my debut stand-up comedy album, Good Girl Barbara, is now available. Thank you so much for listening. Is now available for you to stream. You can buy it. You don't have to. Do whatever you want. It's on all the platforms. Anywhere you would get music or a comedy album, you can now listen to it. And I'm really proud of it. The jokes I recorded it a year ago. And I listened back and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that still hits. I like it. So I'm really excited about that. And then I have a Patreon. I talk to you about this every week, guys. You know the deal, but I'll remind you again. Every week I host group Zoom Therapy, where you can just come in for an hour and talk about whatever you want. And I got to say, the people that I attract don't do small talk, and I really love that. We get deep. If you're feeling suicidal, this is not a replacement for therapy in any way, but it is nice to just fucking vent and get stuff off your chest. And a lot of times people are going through something similar and they could chime in with much more helpful advice than I could come up with. And I like using it as a kind of, not an open mic, but I'll insert humor when I find it appropriate. And I gotta say, comedy's healing and I'm good at it in these circles. So patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson. And then The Voices in Our Heads, my podcast on Big Dong Dicky Coscarelli's network, Slickback Studios, comes out every Monday. And that's all for me.
All right. And then the next Guys We Fcked live experience in New York is going to be Thursday, March 7th at 7 p.m. at the MasterCard Midnight Theater. So if you can't make it to the February one, jot that down in your calendar because there might be a little bit of a hiatus after that. We're not sure yet. We do not know what our lives will entail.
Buy tickets and we'll do it more.
But for me personally, then February 29th through March 2nd, I am headlining the DC Comedy Loft in Washington, D.C. with Chloe LeBranch featuring. And then I have a bunch more dates. That poster will be coming out soon, but a bunch more dates for this spring. So stay tuned for a venue near you. And of course, my show Without a Country comes out every Wednesday on YouTube and also everywhere you listen to podcasts. It usually premieres around like 9 p.m. at night on YouTube. If you are like, where does it premiere? But because I do recommend watching that show live, but it's been really great lately. We've been having so many amazing guests. We had a veterinarian on, we had a journalist on, really digging deep into things. So if you're interested in like asking why is the world the way it is, if you want to be an active, if you want to be an active participant in society, if you don't like America, if you love America, I think it's a show for all these kinds of people. But if it's for people who want to be active participants in the world in which they think and strengthen their critical thinking skills. That's that show. Give it a listen. All right.
Yay.
All right.
I wanted to say real quick, Ashanti, a friend of the show, a friend and listener of the show, sent me an Instagram video yesterday by the handle was The Cindy Noir, Noir. And she did this kind of like stitched together Instagram post about how it's a really interesting concept that people pleasing is a form of manipulation.
Oh, I actually saw that, I think.
So true. Because Cindy was saying, she's like, the thing that got me to stop people pleasing immediately is when I realized the truth to it. It is 100% manipulation. You're just using positive things to manipulate, but you're manipulating people.
Yeah, it's like it's self-serving. Yeah.
Yes, so self-serving. And I'm like, oh my God. If that's not, I mean, my people-pleasing things aren't really, they don't really surface that much anymore, but they used to, my God. But a lot of people, I think, struggle with people-pleasing. And so if you are somebody who struggles with it, I invite you to reframe it in your head as a part of manipulation. You're not doing that person a service. You're not doing yourself a service by people pleasing. It's like such a trap. It's it's a prison, but the door of the prison cell is wide open. You just got to walk out of it.
Right, because like she kind of explains, like they're yesing. The people pleasers are yesing people basically to manipulate the reaction that they want out of the person, right? Yeah,
which is like
I did watch that. Yeah,
101 manipulation, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that's what a profound, simple thing that's kind of been lying there this whole time about people pleasing that I've never looked into. So thank you, Ashanti, and at The Cindy Noir. And I just wanted to read this really quick. I read this on the bonus episode a little bit. I'm revisiting this book, Woman Code. I was reading it last night in bed. Usually I read to go to sleep, but then I ended up reading like 100 pages of this book, and I was very excited. I'm like, I need to talk about this again on the show because a couple of people DM'd me when I talked about it last year. But, my birthday is coming up in a month-ish, February 19th. And usually I'll start celebrating my birthday February 1st. And my preferred way of celebrating is just to buy myself stuff, just anything I want. But instead this year, I'm going to work on the relationship I have with my own body and my health. Instead of buying shit. I'll probably also buy some stuff, but but this book is really intriguing. And one of the reasons why the second time I've read this, it just, the information hits more. I'm like, fuck, how do people not know this? How are women going to doctors to a gynecology appointment and the gynecologist, I've never heard a gynecologist talk about any of this shit. And this is so vital to living your life. So she talks about cycle syncing, meaning your menstrual cycle. There's 4 hormonal phases. And in each phase, your hormone levels in your body are completely different. So you're going to be more skilled in certain areas than you are in others. And so she makes a case for really planning out your month, if you can, with your cycle, and kind of, if you can, save certain activities like asking for a raise for when you're ovulating. And we've all, like, you've felt this. Have you ever felt that? I talk about this with my girlfriends a lot. When I am ovulating, I'll know because of the reaction of everybody around me. Like I'm much more magnetic, and I'll walk into a bar and get hit on.
I really feel very little change in my entire body or personality because of my menstrual cycle, to be honest.
You're one of the fortunate ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, this little chunk I just wanted to read, rebuilding your relationship with your body. I was never looking for the menstrual cycle to be the holy grail of my life. I came at this strictly from the standpoint of needing to heal myself physically, because she went to a doctor. She was overweight. She had cystic acne. Her hair was fucked up. And her doctor was like, I don't know, try birth control. But what I found from honoring the 4 phases of my cycle, and what I see in the women I work with every day who learn these same skills, is that doing so gives a woman access to so much more than a healthier, more fertile, more energetic body. Women who partner with their hormones live more efficiently and strategically. These women end up becoming the fullest expression of themselves and live as leaders and change agents in their own lives and communities. You can tell her client base is New York City women. But the changes you'll make require so much more than simply following my protocol for what to eat, what to do, and how to live each of the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle. For this plan to be successful, and to truly heal your castaway condition, it must become an effortless part of your monthly experience. And that requires a fundamental paradigm shift in the current relationship you have with your body. Let's face it, many women would rather exist from the neck up and would prefer their bodies take care of themselves. And yet the hormonal breakdown that results from ignoring your woman code, this is the word that she's given it, is very likely what led you to pick up this book in the first place. That's why I want to make it clear. Living in sync with your weekly flux will actually bolster, not deter, your career success. It's because you'll be leveraging your mental and physical abilities week by week to work more cleverly and seamlessly instead of pushing against your hormonal current every step of the way. After living within this habit of syncing with my cycle for several years, I began to see even more profoundly how well it fits, not just with my own body's natural rhythm, but with how my brain is designed too. And this is the part that I was like, this is very interesting. Women's brains, I learned, function more holistically than men's brains. That is, with a richer conversation between the left and the right hemispheres. As a result, we synthesize multiple pieces of data simultaneously and feel better when we're integrating many different aspects of our lives at once. Men's brains, on the other hand, function in a more binary fashion. Each man is more dominantly right-brained or left-brained. That's why it seems easier for men to live their lives in a rather linear fashion, while women require a life in which we're constantly synthesizing and integrating pieces of information. This reality of synthesis and integration can seem overwhelming and complex, which is why I was completely inspired when I discovered that syncing up with my cycle meant that I could leverage my own hormones and brain behavior and be incredibly productive and efficient. Oh, so that's just a little...
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why men needed a girlfriend at the office and at home.
100%.
Because he can't synthesize.
Yep.
That was for you, Mike.
That was for you.
Thank you.
What if Mike leaves the show and immediately gets into a healthy relationship?
Oh my God.
You know, I've had that thought.
Are you kidding?
We're just in his ear too much every week. Yeah.
I've had that conversation with my
Sorry, I
therapist.
want more for you, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
wait, what conversation?
So wait,
like whether you guys are in my ear too much.
Yeah, we might be.
I'm serious.
But that's then the conversation I think you're gonna have with your therapist is, why am I so easily influenced?
Oh. But also too, it does something.
I've never been around someone a lot and been like, oh, my opinion changed.
Me either.
Cult.
Listen,
Cult.
man, it's
hard not to be.
A long time you guys have been in my ear.
Yes, and I gotta say, talking about, like, Corinne and you and I, and you too, Michael, we have a very unique experience with having to talk about relationships and sex and sexuality and what we want in life.
Unique, that's what I call it.
No, but it is
every week is a lot. Like,
some would say draining. Some would say makes your own life implode.
100%. And it's like there's so much more to life than these topics. These topics are a big part of one's life if you want them to be, but like there's so much more to life. But it does something to you. The effects not yet known by talking about it so often.
Well, I think really the thing for me that I think has affected me is that I we've kind of talked about this before, but I think what happens to me is that I sit here and I listen to you guys and I listen to the listeners who will write in and kind of address their, bring up their problems with their boyfriends or guys they like or whatever. And I think that I take a lot of that stuff and I put it out into the world in my life. So when I'm in romantic situations, well, the thing is, I really think that I try my best to be pretty self-actualized, and I've done a lot of work to try to get there.
Yeah. And
I think what happens is you get out into the world as a man and you take those things with you. And a lot of times women are so not used to dealing with that I think a lot of times they don't know how to handle it. And I don't want to say that they're scared of it. Maybe that's an element of it. But I just think they're so much more comfortable with dealing with like what they're used to with men.
Yeah.
Just kind of like the men
that's
that
their
like
comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like,
when men have standards, it annoys women. I've seen that. All the time.
I have been
I'll be
annoyed by men for having standards, and I go, "Oh, Krystyna."
But it's beyond.
Don't do that.
It's beyond standard. It's like it's being deferential in a lot of ways. It's like being a good listener, being somebody that will kind of like ask about the day and actually listen, and bring something up later. It's like I think women say that they want that stuff, and I think that they do, but I think what happens is they want it from the guy that doesn't do it.
They want it from the bad boy.
Yeah, they want it from the guy that they change.
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly right, Krystyna. So I think that because I'm here and I'm thinking about this constantly and I'm thinking about like what I heard that week and being like, all right, well, like, let me try to address this in my own life. I think a lot of times it like kind of comes back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say, I'm going to get woo-woo for a second. The relationship that I'm in now did not start off healthy in any way and remained unhealthy for many years. If somebody wrote to us and was like, this is the situation, it was exactly my situation, I'd be like, bitch, what are you doing? Run. But I got to say, like, it is, and part of it, like the noise, you have to shut out the noise while still taking in whatever this person that you're trying to date is like doing and stuff. But it's also a matter of, I don't think people talk about this enough, like sitting still with yourself and going, how do I want to feel in a relationship? Like at my most ideal romantic relationship for me that I can think of, what would that feel like for me?
My therapist loves to ask that question.
But that's what I started doing, certainly over the pandemic. It's one of the reasons why one of the many reasons why I loved the pandemic. Is because I actually got to sit and think, and there was no noise of like, wait, you just got to get to, it's so simple, but you just got to go, how would I feel safe? Okay, well, what does that mean? I feel listened to. Like you were saying, Michael, that example you brought is a beautiful one in a relationship of any kind. When somebody brings up something again, it's like Corinne's gift giving skills. Right. You're like, holy shit, you listen in a very intimate, deep way that's like beautiful and feels like it's a lot of love. And so thinking of those things and not letting yourself get drowned out by all the, dumb bitchery we're reading in this inbox.
Well, right. And a lot of times it's either like I think coming from a male perspective, a lot of times I think it feels sort of like you said, Krystyna, I remember Hannah Berner told the story about her and Des.
I loved that story when Des was like, you're going to play games? I don't want to be with you. Bye. But she was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I think that works.
And now they're married.
I don't know what Des was like before that, but I think that works because it's like a guy who like, she was kind of already feeling it a little bit. She was messing with him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it works. Like I honestly, I had more women who I think were into me when I was like when I was doing less work on myself. Women that like were interested in me, like trying to get me to date them.
I see.
And now I think that like women like spending time with me, but they like it to a point. And then I think when they it's time to kind of make a decision on whether or not we're going to like.
Well, they don't want to be required to show up for you. It's exhausting when someone actually like has standards and you have to like we as women, I think we're not used to having to be on our best behavior.
I think that is a very accurate.
That could be it.
Yeah. I think that's a very accurate thing, Corinne.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also, I think like week to week, like, I think sometimes the listeners misconstrue how draining it is to have to like use like something that's like a core part of human existence, like your relationships as fodder kind of, and to constantly overanalyze it. So sometimes I think it comes off as like we're burned out on the show when in reality it's like I would love to see any of you do this for 10 years.
Oh,
we really love.
That's why I'm talking about hormones now. Right. I'm like, I don't want to talk about dick right now. I don't feel like it.
It is to constantly have to ask yourself questions and analyze your own behavior. Is really it's difficult, and it's going to make you see things in yourself that like you're. I mean, I just feel like it's been wonderful because you're like. I feel like we advance. Like more quickly because we're forced to because it's our homework every week. Right. But also it's like, it makes you put in a bad mood a lot.
Yeah, because then it makes other people's like bad behaviors more jarring in a way.
Yeah. And then kind of going off the bad behavior, this actually goes into one of the things I wanted to talk about in the intro this week, which is I was thinking about it and I was like, I feel like women are more boring than we think we are on dates because we are so used to, and I knew you would agree with me.
No, we'll finish and then I'll
agree with you. I feel like we are just kind of, it's been set up societally, and again, this is heterosexual, that we show up and we look pretty and we sit there, and part of it is that, men don't love listening to us talk a lot. I mean, I know that's not true for you, but there are many men who don't enjoy listening to it. But and so we don't know how to be interesting, and more importantly, like we don't know how to connect. We don't know how to sell ourselves on a date because there is an element of selling yourself 100%. On a date. And I really feel like I felt like that when I was on that impromptu date for two. Like
tact.
Like both those guys had really interesting stories, and I don't want to say they were queued up to impress me, but like. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I am a really interesting person. I'm literally living my dreams. I have a ton of interesting stories, but like, I don't have the ability like on a Rolodex to just pull them up and prepare it in a succinct way with like, almost like a stand-up act. These men had things prepared. Like this one guy.
They do. They have an act.
Yeah. He told me this
Every
one.
Man has
give
an
me
act.
the hits.
This one like riveting story about like the death of his dog. Yeah. And then the other guy, I mean, the other guy just has a wildly entertaining life because of other factors. But like, and in my head, I'm sitting there going like, I probably am coming off as boring right now. And like, I guess it doesn't matter because I think these two men are like kind of like trying to impress me. So in the dynamic right now, it doesn't matter. But it really made me think of like, if I was trying to impress one of these guys, like I don't have the goods right now to do so. And I think that's like true. I've heard a lot of my guy friends talk about going on dates with women they were interested in and being bored. And I think
interesting.
And I think when we think about ourselves as women, like, we shit on men all the time and like, we're like, impress us, show up, do this. But it's like,
don't do that.
Are you being interesting on your date? Do you have a story? Do you have a first date act? Because I sure as hell don't.
I do. What are you talking about? That's why I love dating. I got aliens, ghosts. I got so many stories on dating. I love dating because I got so many stories.
But aliens and ghosts is just you passing along other information that you know. Like I have information that I know that I can pass along. I'm talking about like kind of stories that to show who you are.
Yeah, I got those too. It depends. But see, the thing is, you can't. For me, going on a date like with saying I'm going to talk about this and this, you can't do that because you don't know how the vibe is going to be. You got to see what interests that other person and what are their areas of expertise or areas of interest or where do their curiosities lie.
Krystyna. You could.
I love dates.
Yeah, I'm super good at like talking to people and like listening and getting deep into and like I can go deep fast. Like that's no problem. But as far as like, do I have like a sell myself about my life story? Not really. No.
Yeah.
Sell yourself about your life. Yeah, because I
don't really have that. No, yeah. I think you need to though. If you're trying to impress someone, you need to have a story off which you're selling yourself, and I don't have that.
I also think that
my career is that. But what am I supposed to say? Look at my Instagram page? No, of course not. That's insane.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's a fair point, Corinne. I think that it is. I think it's probably a role reversal for women. I think that it's this weird formula where I think a lot of women are conditioned to like listen on dates and men will just kind of like bloviate.
They'll just talk themselves into a hole.
Yeah. I just see so many women online talking about going on boring dates and I gotta be asked half the time. And especially if I know these people, I go, I think it's you.
It might be.
And a lot of times two boring people find each other and have a great time on a date, which I've always found fascinating.
That's cool.
I love when two boring people find each other. It's like, that is beautiful.
It's so bizarre.
You didn't know there was two such specific shades of vanilla.
Yeah.
Well, and I personally think that I'm a very interesting person, and obviously, people choose the people that they want to go on a second date with for a lot of reasons. But there have been times where I felt that I was interesting on a first date, and I was just like, I'm giving you the A stuff here.
Yeah.
Like I'm teaching you. I'm like talking about some things that I like. I'm talking about my family a little bit. My sister with Down syndrome. Everybody loves that.
You gotta hit that. You gotta hit the sister with
I'm
Down
listening
syndrome.
to you.
But you can be interesting on a date and still not have a connection. I've been interested by men on dates and still not wanted to fuck them, so I didn't go on a second date.
There's been very few times for me where I have found a woman interesting that I wanted to like see again.
Wow.
And then I just was like, all right, well, you're interesting, but I don't want to see you again. That's me, my personal preference.
Yeah, but that's a flipped. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because sometimes ugly people are interesting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes.
Usually they're more interesting.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah. And I appreciate that more.
Yeah.
That they
It's
learned.
so much harder to be interesting.
Yeah, no, because I think I have like a very interesting and unique worldview. But as far as
And
like
life
and my life with the date, but also it's like I'm also and this hurts me in stand up too. I just don't have the urge to get people to like me. I don't care, so I don't try.
But that's interesting.
But it's not interesting on a date when you have to sell yourself. Like you need to have the motivation inside yourself a little bit to make someone want to like you. And I don't, that's missing. I don't have it. It's the same reason. It's the same reason why I stray away from meeting people's parents. Cause I know I lack that. And I don't want to upset my partner by, it's also like really hard for me to like fake.
Totally.
So I just go, if I avoid, then no disaster.
Right.
I just don't have that, I hope they like me.
Well, you know what?
I don't think that's ever crossed my mind. Maybe Victoria Beckham, I would want her to like me.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it.
See, that's the difference. I have that.
Well, also, when you're going on a date,
yes,
you don't know if you want this person to like you yet because you don't know if you like them. So it's all just like sizing each other up for a while.
Well, but no, I don't have that at all because for me, it's like if this is the person for me, they'll just sense my energy and they'll like me innately.
But
honestly, that
kind of
works
agree.
a lot.
I kind of agree with that.
It works a lot, and so I know it's right. You know.
Yeah.
But I think I should have a more. I mean, this is like for a thing that I'm not doing when dating, but like I just feel it was more like a commentary on women in general. I just think like maybe watch yourself. Like if you think you're constantly bored on dates, like maybe
you're the boring one.
Yeah.
Maybe look in that compact mirror, girl.
Yeah.
That's where that boredom's coming from, that mouth hole.
Yeah.
But this guest is not boring.
No, she's certainly not.
Oh my God,
No,
this is the
she's
least
not.
boring guest we could possibly ask for. I'm so excited to have her back. She's an amazing New York City stand-up comedian, and she's host of the Zillennial news show, News for Women. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show,
Chloe LaBranche.